Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. So I'm going to run some Abyss right now, and it is some T3 Abyss in a Gila. And this is because a lot of you guys have been telling me, Aceface, we need something for the new guys. And that's exactly what this is made for. This is made for Alpha Clone, so it's Alpha Clone friendly. I'm on an Alpha Clone right now. I've got this random Alpha Clone I made. He's not really... it's someone I had a long time ago. And it's got a lot of Caldari based skills, but the skills on this guy is just complete crap. Okay, you can have a lot better Alpha Clone skills than me. So just so you know, you can actually be better than what I'll be doing now as an Alpha Clone. So a good example of this is that you can see here, my DPS is absolute crap right here, 490 DPS, but we'll be able to take us through the T3 size just fine. You don't need extremely high amounts of DPS. We need a bit more than this, I think, on the T4. Maybe you would sometimes survive, but when it comes to the T4 with this DPS, but I would not like to have this DPS in the T4. The point is, this is for T3, okay? T3 electrics. The reason we're going with T3 electricals is because the T3 electricals doubles our capacitor recharge rate. So you can see right here, we've not got a stable capacitor. But in the electrical sites, we'll have double the capacitor recharge rate. So we've got a minus 57% capacitor recharge rate right here. And we'll basically get like a plus 100% in the T3 Abyss, or the Electric Abyss. So we'll be obviously cap stable here because we just got minus 57%. So we just do plus 100% and we'll have you know, cap stable. You'll see that shortly. So I'm using an active tank. Active tank right here. Some multispectrums. I think it's important to have dual multispectrums. You don't have to. It would actually perhaps be even more. You'll have more like recharge if we were to go for like a shield booster or dual medium shield boosters and just a single multispectrum. But I like to always have dual multispectrum shield hardeners because this gives us a big buffer. And in the Abyss, it can be quite favorable to sometimes have a decent amount of buffer. Not that it's really like necessary, but it does help. It's not uncommon to have it so that the battleships, especially the infamous Charybdis Tyrannosaurus Rex, goes and does the wrecking shots on you. And wrecking shots, the massive shots that have a small probability or risk of happening, and these can actually almost one-shot your shields. And it doesn't one-shot your shields with a single multispectrum, but it will almost. And if you take other damage while you get this big wrecking shot, then it can maybe tip you over the edge. And I'd prefer just to be on the safe side and have dual multispectrums. But actually a standard, like how do you say, shield boost amplifier would actually give us a little bit better EHP per second, but I like to have the dual multispectrum just because of that, giving that extra buffer, you know, so we just don't get one-shotted off the field. And I'm not using a triple low slots with drone damage amplifiers. This is because we get really good capacitor from this Flux Coil right here, and as I said before, we don't have particularly good DPS, but you don't in the T3 sites. You don't need to have crazy amounts of DPS. There's not a lot of stuff to kill compared to the T4 and T5 sites, so it's alright with this DPS. It's not optimal. We'll not be doing the sites extremely fast, but we'll be able to pull through. And I, personally speaking, like to be able to survive rather than just doing the sites really fast. Obviously, if you do kill stuff really fast, you do actually kind of tank yourself in that way because there'll be less DPS on grid. But especially when it comes to the Gila is a very good like face tanking ship because it can get extremely good high recharge rate due to the Gila's innate like bonuses to shield resistances, and then you paired with the shield booster, you can actually get some pretty decent recharge right there. I can go on my skills, like I've not at all got particularly good drones, or I've got all right drone skills, but not like the best. Like there's still stuff missing there. I've got limited missile skills as well. I've got only the Tech 2 missile launchers. I've got just Tech 1 large shield booster, that's what I'm using, Tech 1 large shield booster. I will only be going for the bi-adaptives because it'll take too long. I could perhaps have used a tractor beam, but to be honest, I wouldn't be messing with that if I was a new player to the Abyss, because focusing on that and also on having to outmaneuver the enemy ships, I think it's just important that if you're a new player, just to focus on outmaneuvering the enemy ships. So that Infiltrator is beaten up from a previous run I did. I'll return him. So this right here, Rogue Drone Wave, Rogue Drone Battlecruiser Wave. Important to keep your range from these guys. These guys can hit extremely hard if you get close. So it's very simple. all we have to do is just keep our distance. And he is switching already to our drones, which is annoying. You can see the yellow box right there. Very annoying. I'm actually going to give a little bit of a shortcut to recalling my drones. It's very good to do this because if you do like have a recall drones command, combat right here, I think it's on drones. Yeah, there we go. Okay, reconnect launch drones, return to drone bay. Shift F. I like doing Shift F because Shift F, you like use F to engage your drones, and we're too close to this drone right here. If you use F to tell the drones, okay, go and kill this guy, but Shift F, then you can just return it. I like that a lot more. So we're getting very close to this guy, and it's only one rogue battlecruiser. But if all three of them are very close to us, then we would have big problems. And you can see here in our capacitor, we've got a very stable capacitor because we're in the electrical side. We get more shield boosts or more capacitor recharge rate. So that's very nice right there. Very, very nice. I've heard a lot of problems a lot of people have problems with the Marshall wave, and this is something I actually have not tested out with this fit. But based on how much recharge it has, it should be able to pull through in the Marshall wave. Just keep in mind, if you are taking a lot of DPS, then overheat these three right here. Preferably the these guys first, then this thing, the booster, as like a last resort, because they'll take a lot of heat damage from the booster, but the shield hardeners don't take as much heat damage as well, and also you can train up this thermodynamics right here. I've not got it to max, but it's good to have that max in general when you're doing the Abyss, especially if you're using this kind of fit with when it comes to like the active shield boosters. If you want to overheat it in if you do some mistake, you maybe need to overheat this, you'll get quite a bit of extra shield boost from overheating right there. So that's a really good benefit of having the good thermodynamic skill, because it'll make so you take less damage from like heat damage when you overheat. Like you can just give an example right here. If I click here, you'll see that it's going a bit green right here. That's overheating, and I get more shield boost when I do that. And I only did it for a small amount of time, so I didn't take any heat damage. But you'll be able to see here, we're taking a little bit of heat in the medium, 2%. That'll go down over time. So you can't just heat unlimited, because if we get too much heat, then we'll take damage. You'll see like a kind of red line on the modules. And that's something we want to avoid. I like to use the MWD personally to get the bioadaptive or the extraction nodes. It's very fast, but it's pretty hard with an alpha clone to be able to do that because of the lack of skills. Your capacitor skills are not particularly good, your fitting skills are not particularly good, so it's hard. And also the Afterburner helps you negate more damage as well because of your signature radius not being expanded like a balloon. So when it comes to being safe, the Afterburner is pretty good. However, the MWD can be very useful if you're able to get it to work for the Vedmax spawns. The Vedmax spawns are like these Triglavian cruisers. They do a lot of damage, and you can avoid them almost completely with an MWD, so it's very useful in that regard. So this is the Charybdis Tyrannosaur wave. This is a very dangerous wave, but it's very simple. All you have to do is double click or hold down Q and then double click in space. Kind of come in an arc. Don't go directly towards Charybdis. Charybdis will hit hard if you go in directly. So that's why you want to go in like a little arc. So it's more likelihood that, or bigger likelihood that you will destroy, that you'll not take massive shots. You see, it says it glances off, like it's kind of like glancing. The shot is glancing off, it's not properly hitting us. There's a high likelihood that these kind of shots will happen if we don't approach directly. So that's why we go from the side. You see that? The wrecking shot, that's what I'm talking about. You see that? All our shields just went directly down like that. And this is where I'd overheat a little bit. You know, overheat just a tiny bit. Just to be able to get our shields back up right there. Maybe even just do one cycle of the hardeners. There we go. I'm going to stop overheating now. We don't want to overheat too much because we're going to take a lot of heat damage right there. And what I'm doing is, on the way here, I am going to be shooting the cruisers. The reason is because the cruisers have a lot of deadly evil. They have, perhaps, for example here, entanglement. They'll weapify me. They'll make me slower. They'll make it easier for Mr. Charybdis or Mrs. Charybdis to be able to hit me very hard. So that's why I want to take them out. null warp here, I can completely negate, I don't prioritize them. Like, what I do is I kill all the cruisers first, then I go for Charybdis. But what I'm saying is, when you decide to kill which cruisers should I kill first, take out stuff like Webifiers, the entanglement cruisers is what they're called. And then also you'll see something called, like, I think, like the ones that do target painters on you, you'll see kind of like a red. If you like move the tab here, you'll see like a kind of red kind of thing that looks like this, an icon that... You'll see an icon that looks like this. You'll see this here. Those target painter guys you also want to take out, because target painters make your ship like size bigger, and if you have a big ship, Charybdis will be able to hit you easier. So you want to take out those kind of people as well. And also neuters, people with like a battery kind of effect. You'll see here neutralizer. This kind of icon will be here. Those guys, you want to take them out as well, because they will, you know, drain your capacitor. If you have no capacitor, you can't use your shield booster. However, don't worry too much about that. I was really afraid to use the active tank ships in the Abyss in the beginning, because I was like, well, no, if someone used me out, I'm not able to recharge my shields. But if I'm in a passive tank with, you know, shield extenders, not the shield boosters, shield extenders, then I'll still have this like passive tank here. But the thing is, my innate capacitor is really good, so it's hard to nuke me out. You see that? You saw like we got 16 gigajoules to spare. That's really good. Plus we get extra neutralizing resistances from the cat battery you have. Cat batteries make it so that your neutralizing effect like is just like negated, like 27%, I think, or something like that, 27%. So you are a lot more resistant when you've got the active tank, and also going with the shield extenders makes your signature radius also quite a bit bigger and makes it easier for you to take damage, and that's something you want to preferably avoid when you're doing the Abyssal sites. Another thing is that you have the ability to overheat the booster. That's also something that's really good. If you're using a passive tank with shield extenders, you know, we put the shield extender like this, extender here. If we were to have this, we put the large shield extender. These guys here, we can't overheat these, but we can overheat the shield boosters, and that's something that's very, very nice. We can overheat we lock the bioadaptive cache, but to be honest, I'm on the test server doing this, so it's not really much point. But I could also just, you know, go for the extraction cache. You can see here the time is not too bad. I mean, we did this on average. If we just average the time it took to do the first 2 rooms, were less than 5 minutes, and that's what I consider to be a very good time. If you complete a room in less than 5 minutes, I think that's a good time. So if you do that less than 5 minutes, then you're on a good track. If you complete a room less than 5 minutes, occasionally you will maybe encounter a room that takes a bit longer to do than 5 minutes, but have it as your general goal to complete a room in less than 5 minutes. I think that is a very good goal, especially in the T3. I mean, me personally, I do the T5s in less than 5 minutes, but that's obviously because I have very good skills, very good ship. I have, with my Gila that I use in the T5 Abyss, I have over 700 DPS, 750 DPS, so it's obviously going to do stuff a lot faster than this ship right here. A lot of vibration right here, because there's a setting that I have not turned off actually that reduces this vibration. So this is the Angel Wave. The angels, the angles, the angels. I don't know why, but I just find that like it looks almost like you could say like angles. They like the word angel, very similarly spelt to the word an angle. So, but we go for the Cinnabal first, because that's where the majority of the DPS is coming from. Then we'll go for these frigates right here. They're doing deadly E-War. The thing is, you don't have a whole lot of DPS coming in from the angel waves, but the only thing is that they do EM, so it can increase the amount of DPS they do. We don't have a particularly good EM hole. You can see here 28%, everything else is pretty high. Could actually perhaps have had a EM hardener, but it's alright, we're still pulling through. That's what I mean, like the natural DPS of these waves is still not particularly high. It's only that they're hitting really into the EM hole, which can be problematic. But there is something that is more problematic. It's just that there's so much E-War in the angel waves. Look at this, like so many webs, scrams. They've got the sensor dampening, basically everything in the book they've got just all at once, and it can really make it a lot slower for you, and they can be potentially quite hard neuters here, so watch out for the neuters. You just don't want to go to, I mean, even though I said that we were quite neuter resistant, it doesn't mean we're completely like, you know, invulnerable to newts. That's something that you just have to understand, that you're not invincible to newts, even though we have got a good capacitor. So I mean, take them out. Keep an eye on this bar right here. If it goes down to 25%, that means if you have the way the capacitor works, it's got the highest recharge at 25%. So if you're getting to 25%, that means you are getting neutered out quite a bit, and you will absolutely no cost under no circumstances want to go below 25%, because when we are past 25% capacitor, our recharge is going to go down, and we absolutely do not want that to happen, because if that happens, then we are going to not be able to use our shield booster. If our shield booster is not able to be active, then we're going to die. But that should not happen unless you've got extremely high newt pressure and you're not focusing too much on it. And also something to keep in mind, this is actually something that's really important to understand. Try to avoid these orange clouds. You can see in the orange cloud, now we're kind of, there's not really right here. You'll see an icon here, an orange icon here. That means we're in the orange cloud. These things will make it so that our capacitor will actually be worse, because it'll make the shield boosters use more capacitor. And I'll actually demonstrate this right here. We're just going to go to this orange cloud right here. So if you do go in one of these, take out newts as fast as you possibly can. Just take out the newts, because you're going to have big capacitor problems when you go into this orange cloud right here. You'll see here, if we just reload our missiles, recall our drones, you see this is a pretty good time right here. 12 minutes. 12 minutes for doing that site. I like that time. Double click. I'm just double clicking here. A good thing to get into habit of is doing this hold down Q thing, because if you were to crash and you double click and then you relog back in, the game will just think that you're continually going there, because if you double click, it kind of makes you go there for infinity. And when you get into the border of the abyss, the unstable abyssal depths will crush your ship if you go out too far. So we're soon in the orange cloud. The hitboxes of these are really horrible. That's why it's just it's really bad. Let's just try to get into this orange cloud just to demonstrate this. It's really annoying. Like, the hitboxes are really bad, but I think maybe we have to go a bit this way. Perhaps. Orange cloud, will you show yourself? Show yourself, please. Obviously, we don't have. This is something I would never usually do, but I just want to show you guys what I'm talking about, because we would have finished this site a long time ago. You got the 20-minute timer, so you don't want to be too slow, but you shouldn't have any issues when it comes to the Gila right here. The DPS is applied pretty well, and it is not. It's not extremely low. I mean, Fortnite's DPS are okay, but it's not good either. It's not like I could not see you having bad times with the site clearing here. It has a lot to do with the way we've had this. Like, we're not using 3 drone damage amplifiers. We would do a lot more DPS then. But the thing is, if we have got a flux coil like we've got now, this will enable us to have a lot better capacitor, new resistance. We can have more rigs with regards to our shield boosting capabilities. Makes us just overall a lot more tankier. And as I said before, you can have better skills than I've got right here. You can have better skills. What is our cruiser level? Caldari cruiser 4, Galenta cruiser 4. Okay, we've got maxed out when it comes to that and Alpha clones, but not when it comes to the weapons. And I don't think. No, what about the engineering? Engineering. Okay, so we've got pretty good skills. Like, we've got Capacitor 4, but it's definitely not maxed out. There are some of the offensive skills you can use to get better than this. And I don't understand, why is the orange cloud not showing? What is this broken game? Really, this broken game. I don't understand why. It's just so unclear. Like, you know what's happened once before? It's happened that I've gone in an orange cloud and I had capacitor problems. And it's like, oh no. I have capacitor problems. I have to get out of this as quickly as possible. So I was just trying to get out of it. I was just double clicking in space, or like using my manual pilot to get out. And I was like, oh no, I need to get out. I'm getting neutered out, because there were actually these like Vedmax that neutered me really hard at the same time. It was big problems. And I was just like, okay, I need to get out of this as soon as possible. And I was trying to get out, just like I'm trying to get into this cloud right here. But the thing is, it was never ending. The effect kept lasting. And it just has to do with these hitboxes are so bad. Okay, there we go. There we go. You see that? We've got the filament cloud right here. So if we go here, you see, we're not even cap stable with the filament cloud. And this actually can be dangerous. So obviously, it's okay, because you can get out of this, and if you kill the newts, you'll still be able to last for like 4 minutes. So that's alright. But be really wary of these orange clouds. The orange clouds can be your doom if you don't pay attention to enemy newts while you're in this. Extremely important to take out enemy newts. But you will be able to pull through, especially if you overheat and you have problems. Like, say for example, you have problems with your capacitor. What you do is you just turn off your shield booster, you would obviously still have your capacitor to have these modules on. And then, say, you know, you're getting neutered out, focus on the neuters, and then do a few pulses like this. Just do overheat the pulses like this. Just if you do a few pulses, you know, overheat the pulses, so you get the most out of those few pulses you're doing, and do that. Just to preserve capacity. Just you can keep an eye on the capacitor, just preserve it right there. That's how I would do. That's what I did when this case happened that I was telling you about. I was trying to exit the orange cloud, and I could never exit it because I was just thinking, oh, I'm out of it, but I'm still not out of it. So that's what I did. I had the unstable capacitor, and I just overheated these as well, and then I just pulsed it a bit. Like, I didn't fully use it all the time because then I would be cap stable. You know, when I says that we were not cap stable here, we're not cap stable here, that's because it's assuming we're using this all the time. But let's say we don't use this all the time. Well, then we'll just pulse it, and we'll be cap stable. So it's all right. It's all right. Don't worry too much. Just watch out for the orange cloud. That's all I'm trying to say, because this can cost you a ship if you don't understand this. That's why I'm just making a big emphasis on this right now. Okay, there we go. T3 site done. I really wanted to show you guys the Marshal room, but I'm unable to show it to you right now because I have not found it. It should have enough tank to, based on the numbers. I've run the Marshal room in other ships. Based on the numbers, you should be able to defeat it. But if you do come across it, take out the Thunder Child first, because they have very little HP. The Thunder Child is this one right here. Go here. Thunder Shield. Thunder Child. If you see, take out the Thunder Child first, because that has very little HP. It doesn't. The main damage comes from the Marshals, but they have quite a bit of HP, so it'll take longer to get through them. So if you take out the Thunder Child, you'll be negating a lot of the DPS quite quickly. Then be prepared to overheat your shield modules. You'll be taking a lot of DPS. Feel free to overheat. Okay? Feel free to overheat. Don't overheat your missiles, really. You won't get much DPS out of that. And just focus on the Marshals. Marshal. And then just hope that you'll survive. Me, personally, I haven't had a lot of problems with them. But I know that a lot of people had problems with them. And I do notice that you do take a lot of DPS in my runs. So just make sure you overheat. Make sure you overheat. If you notice your shields are getting low, obviously don't overheat if you've got full shields, but make sure you overheat if your shields get low, because you don't want your shields to go low, because you're gonna die, and it's gonna be, you've obviously got a bit of buffer of armor and structure just in case you were to bleed through and lose shields, but you really just want to have your shields up all the time. So just watch out for the Marshal waves, but you should pull through based on these recharge values here. We've got quite a lot of shield boosting right here. A lot of shield boosting, so you should be able to pull through. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. Anyway, T3 for an Alpha Clone. I've not got max skills, still doesn't really care. Go straight through the T3 as you saw here. Finished it in 12 minutes. I think it's a decent time. Probably you guys can do better if you got better skills. Hope you guys enjoyed this video right here, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.